It's the holiday season, and we're due for another Vikings heartbreak. So join Ryan, Dave, and I tonight as we talk about the Detroit Lions, whether the Vikings are still in the playoff hunt, among many other things.
Welcome to Vikings Happy Hour, where we mix our favorite beverage and talk of your Minnesota Vikings.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Vikings Happy Hour. I am excited for tonight's show. It's going to be a little faster than how we usually do it. We got some stuff we got to take care of this evening, so let's just get right to it. We kind of talked just a little bit ago about pregame drinks, what we're having on tonight's show. I told everybody that I am having water this evening. This weekend did me in, and as I approach my 30s here, I just can't quite do it like I used to. But
It
Dave
takes
and Ryan
practice.
have you covered.
Take it from me. It takes practice. Years and years, decades and decades of practice.
Dave and Ryan have us covered, and I'll just be the designated driver this evening. So, Dave, why don't you start? What are you drinking this evening, and how are
I
you doing?
am trying a new bottom shelf tequila called Exotico because I'm in that sort of
Okay.
mood.
Yeah. Hey, more power to you. Let's go.
Bottom
Mary's
shelf and
drinking Captain
tequila
Morgan, she said.
don't really mix in my vocabulary.
Yeah, but once you get up higher, like my really good stuff, it gets expensive quick.
Yeah, it does. You're
And
right.
I'm mixing it, so it's not that bad.
Oh,
He
okay.
doesn't want to
Okay.
waste a
That's good.
good quality bottle on this show, Ryan,
Well, I
because
don't. I don't want
they'll
to
just
do it
keep going
mixing.
back.
Oh, trust me. If we win the Super Bowl and we're doing a happy hour, and I'll drink the good stuff. Hmm.
Yeah, I'll drink for
Oh,
days
for sure.
straight at a time after that. Ryan, how about yourself? What are you drinking this evening?
Woodford Reserve Double Oaked.
Mm.
Hell yeah.
Sticking with the bourbon. Obviously, I've had a tough week, football wise, so
Well,
definitely just
why
diving
don't you
into the
take it off
dark
right
liquor.
there? Somebody's already alluded to it, so I'm just going to let you have your soapbox here. A couple minutes. Give everyone the rundown on what happened with your Oklahoma Sooners this past week.
Well, from the sounds of it, we've been bamboozled. We've been playing since September with a coach that was already on the run, and he just needed to get to the last game of the season before he could officially make it official. Yeah. So for those who don't know, Lincoln Riley, one of the top college football head coaches in the college ranks, has decided to leave the great Oklahoma University for USC. Can't say that I 100% blame him. I mean, going to a lesser competitive um, um, conference and living in California I'm assuming he's probably going to get a spot on the coast or on the ocean. All that nice sunny warm weather. I mean, I definitely no tornadoes. I mean, it makes sense.
Did
It's
you
really
hear?
how he did it.
Did you hear some of the contract details?
There's a lot of stuff getting floated out there. I don't believe really any of it. One of
Okay.
them they paid for both of his houses in Oklahoma over 50% over asking. No, I don't think any of that's
Over
real. I
market
think that was just
value,
somebody.
bought
Yeah, I
him
think
a
somebody just
multi-million
kind of
dollar
made.
one, private jet
I think
use.
Ryan Broyles, who's a former Oklahoma Sooner, he actually does a lot of real estate in Oklahoma now. He kind of went and called out at least the USC buying both homes and all that is kind of bogus. But anyway, um, yeah. So it's not that I'm mad that he left. I mean, I anticipated he was going to leave at some point. I thought for the pros, but USC, we're going into SEC. I understand maybe he's running away from the competition and wants to be considered a great head coach, and maybe can't if he feels that he can't compete with Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. But it was more how he left. Again, a lot of rumors going on out there. He's saying that he didn't ever talk to them until Sunday morning, and apparently he made a multi-million dollar life-changing decision in the matter of about an hour. Again, a lot of that doesn't add up. Again, there's reports that he was talking. At least his agent has been talking to USC since September when they fired their coach. So it's hard to. I mean, to win 10 games with a coach with a foot out the door is a great accomplishment for these kids. I'm very proud of them. Excited for the future. I think we're going to make another great hire, just like we've been making for the last two coaches with Bob Stoops and Lincoln Riley. I think Bob is actually helping us lead that charge, and I definitely think that we're going to be in good hands. If he didn't want to be here, we don't want him here, and let's get the next great coach in here who's going to take this program hopefully further than he did because he didn't really take us far anyway. I see Mateo saying the opposite side of the coaching hiring. Good luck with Brian Kelly. I'm not a big fan. Hopefully he does well for you and LSU. I'm not going to wish you poor luck there. I definitely don't dislike LSU. I'm just not a big Brian Kelly fan personally. I think he's kind of an ass just based on things that Robert Sala and Matt LaFleur have said when they were assistants of his. So, but everyone's kind of an ass at some point, including myself. So let's get on to Vikings football because otherwise I just
Speaking of
continue to drink
ass,
all of this.
Yeah, that's a great transition, Ryan. You're getting really good at that. Uh, I think if you could chalk up the performance on Sunday, ass would probably fall under there a little bit. Uh, I, as you know, a week ago made the bold prediction of 35-10 with our guy Niner Sickness on here, and I had to go on his show on Sunday, hungover as all hell, and just basically say sorry to him and his viewers. So if I
I'm
got
glad that you ended
what
up
I had
living up to
coming.
that. I'm glad that you like held true to your word on that because I wasn't making no kind of prediction like that. So
Well,
Well, let's
if we perchance meet again in the playoffs, Niner sickness and us will do that all over again.
yeah, yeah, I told him
absolutely.
that for sure. So, uh, disappointing performance. I thought that was another winnable game for us on the West Coast there. Um, they let us back in. We had the kick return. We had a couple chances towards the end to even tie it up, and so just overall pretty disappointing. Ryan, what were your takeaways from Sunday's game?
I was watching it from behind the tears in my eyes after the news that we just talked about. But no, I was actually watching it from a bar while my kid was skiing because he wanted to ski. So watching it from afar again, I wasn't super detailed on every little play, but watching from what I saw, I honestly didn't think we played that poorly. I mean, obviously our run defense was just horseshit. It was a pathetic performance from that standpoint. I mean, we let up the most rushing yards they've had all year in that game, so that was quite disappointing. But overall, I mean, we were in the game. We knew it was going to be a close game. Well, you thought it was going to be a blowout, Matt, but I thought it was going to be a close game. I think I had it as a 1 point game. We ended up losing by 8. It's still a one score game. And from what I could see, again, I think that we were doing we took some shots. Like I said, I wanted us to stay aggressive. Defense I knew was going to struggle. I knew our run defense wasn't great. I knew their rush defense or rush offense is fantastic. So I knew that we were going to be in for a game just from that alone. So could we keep toe to toe with them and keep them off the holding the ball the whole game, and allow ourselves to offensively keep ourselves in the game, because I knew that was the only way we were going to stay in it. And I thought we did good there. We didn't do great. I know we stayed aggressive. They made some good plays on defense. Kirk started to revert a little bit to the check down king that he is in the game, from what I could see again, and which is a little disappointing. But again, he was also taking the shots. So I think there was a decent balance there from that standpoint. Very encouraging to see our special teams continue to play well. Just from Kene taking another kickoff return for a touchdown, making some big plays when they weren't touchdowns, getting us to the 30, good field position, starting field position. I thought our punting and punt return game were fine. Again, I don't think we really did much in the punt return game, but again, we're not fumbling the ball like Eric Gray did to lose us that game against Oklahoma State. There was some good takeaways from the game. Again, another tough loss to another good team, where I want to see us start winning these good team games, these close good team games. We did against the Chargers, we did against the Packers. So we were on that upward track, and then now we're kind of reverting back to the norm. So I'd like to see, overall, I thought it was a fine game. Again, you're not going to win them all. They were a good team. They're hot, just like we were hot. I don't think that there's anything we should really be super disappointed about outside of that rush defense and figuring out what we need to do to fix that. I saw that Pierce was designated to return at some
Yeah,
point here, which is obviously going to be a great thing for our rush defense. Obviously, we're still going to be without the good ends in Hunter and, again, Everson. I'm not sure the situation. I'm assuming he might be out for a bit, if not the rest of the season. So,
and I think Dalvin Tomlinson
Maybe
is
back too.
eligible to come back on Saturday, right? I think it's just a couple
Yeah,
negative
because of the
tests, but
COVID stuff. Yeah.
he might be back this
yeah.
weekend as well.
And I don't know. I mean, obviously that would have helped this last week, but they were shredding us on the outside. So, I mean, they were just going to run
Yeah,
outside zone anyway. And hopefully we can, I mean, Pierce was making plays earlier this year on those outside runs
yeah,
anyway, but so it might have helped. But I mean, at the same time, without our quality ends and our linebackers, again, I would speak bad about any of our linebackers, but Kendricks, he just wasn't getting to the right spot quick enough last game. And obviously he's fighting through blocks and stuff. It's a hard position.
There
But
were
I
some
just
some
noticed
tackles he
like
missed
two
too.
plays. Yeah, there's like two plays. I just one that touchdown, one of Debo's touchdown runs. He was there. He just missed it.
He got held a little
Um,
bit by Kittle.
I thought I
A
saw
little
that.
bit.
I thought I saw that. But still, I mean, he was there to make the play and missed the tackle. I mean,
Yeah,
he dove
yeah.
at the ankles and missed the tackle, right? So that's not Eric Kendricks like. So
What's interesting
um,
about Kendricks is up until a few weeks ago, he was ranked the 8th best linebacker in the league. And we all know he's one of the best in the league. He dropped in the last few weeks to 33rd out of the top 50% that play, or the top that have
Interesting.
played 50%. And part of
I wonder
that
if that has.
has to do
I'll let
with
you finish.
Pierce and Tomlinson clogging
Yeah,
up the middle and keeping those guys off of him.
yeah. I was about to say. I
They're
wonder if
getting
that
to the
has a lot
second
more
level.
to do with our defensive line than it does
Hmm.
Eric Kendricks.
Hmm.
Um,
And that's in the run
but
game. Those are grades in the
yeah,
run game.
yep. Well,
well, and I've been
let's
saying
keep.
this for a little while though. It seems like I never really noticed him much previously, like last year, this year, earlier this year. I'm noticing him more, which is not a good thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm noticing the mistakes more, or just the missed tackles, or jumping into the wrong hole and then bouncing it out, or whatever. I'm noticing it a
Yeah,
little bit more with him, and again, it definitely could be with because of the D line, but it's just weird. It's not like us to under or to notice Kendricks in a negative light. So
Well, the missed
well, something to
tackles
keep
is
an
a
eye on.
problem of the whole defense. And
Yeah,
that comes
yeah,
from not getting those practice reps due to the CBA that they used to in the past. They can't tackle to the ground. They've only got so many days of in pads and they don't get it during the week. And that's what that comes from. They improve over the
yeah,
season, but it's still lacking over a decade ago when they would get all those reps.
yeah. Well, let's. I want to keep the conversation moving here, and I thought, or I guess not myself personally, but I know a lot of fans called maybe Week 1 versus the Bengals a potential trap game. Um, but turns out the Bengals are just actually good, and so we just got beat by a good team. Now I pose the question to you two. I've seen it in the comments, and by the way, thank you for everyone that's in the comments. I see Clifford, Viking Jerome, Mary, Mateo, Daniel. Everybody's here with us tonight, so thank you for joining along. But I want to pose the question to you, and Dave, I'm going to start with you. Uh, are you buying in? This isn't the lightning round yet, but are you buying into the fact that this Sunday is a trap game for the Vikings?
No.
No, we always have one a year, though, Dave.
It's not this week.
What
No,
makes you think that
we're not
this
going to
year's
have a trap
different?
game this year. No. The only trap game we might have is if we come off beating the Rams and then we go to like Green Bay thinking we're going to win and we get absolutely smoked. No. Uh-uh.
But is that a trap game? Because they're a better team, right? So
Well,
the trap game
if you're
is
thinking a
like,
trap game is somebody that's worse, no. No, we're not going to lose this weekend.
oh,
We
well,
better not
he's
lose
already
this
spoiling his
weekend.
prediction.
No,
Ryan's
I
shaking
didn't
his
say I
head
was going to
no.
take the Vikings. I'm just saying we shouldn't lose.
Ryan,
There's a
what do you
difference.
think? You're shaking your head no.
I don't think we fall to the trap, and it's not necessarily because I think we're like this great team or anything. I just don't think that the Lions have enough juice to be able to beat us. Even though they almost did, they already almost did once in our own building. However, I think we'll recognize that that almost happened. Understand that we can't allow that to happen again. I think DeAndre Swift's going to be out. If I remember, I was just trying to read up on that. I think he's going to be out. So their top playmakers are already going to be out of this game. Jared Goff doesn't scare me at all, and we're playing better than we were at that point in time in the season. So we're playing more aggressive. We're healthy in the cornerback room. Except for is Patrick Peterson going to make it this
We
week?
don't
I'm
know.
not sure. Okay.
He has the
I didn't see the
possibility
injury report
to,
today.
but he would have to test negative on Saturday, and then again on Sunday morning.
Oh,
Okay,
I totally
so
spaced about Patrick Peterson being on
yeah.
the COVID list. So
There was another one added to the COVID list today.
Olabisi
Like
Johnson.
Olabisi Johnson. And I'm like, is Olabisi Johnson still on the team? He's been on IR for forever for his knee. And
yeah,
I
just
guess he came
rehabbing
off
back there.
IR and just went immediately on to COVID.
Wow. Yeah, so I don't think this is a trap game, Matt. I really don't. I mean, is it set up to be one? Yes, but I just don't think we fall into the trap. I'm not
Okay,
taking that
okay.
cheese.
You don't think that because the Lions have nothing to lose, right? I mean, they've
Right.
proven in the game against us that they're scrappy. I think that I saw a stat that a good portion of their games have been within one score, right? It's just
Mhm.
they've just barely missed it. They almost beat San Fran early in the season.
Right. And that's the
Yeah.
most
So
points they scored in a game. And if
and
you
so
listen
when
to
I
Zimmer today, they've held the last 3 games to under 20, but I think that's more on the opponent than
yeah.
the Lions.
Okay. Well, I just have to ask you then. I know you said DeAndre Swift is out, but like if they give up another defensive performance in the run game, like they did last week, like we know Jamal Williams is a capable back. We've seen it in live in Green Bay. He's filled in admirably back when he was with the Packers. If they
Mhm.
decide to utilize him and his receiving ability out of the backfield, you don't think that that could potentially, give that team some juice?
Possibly. I mean, Jamal Williams is a fine back, but the style of running that they do is not what the Niners do. I mean, the Niners are doing everything they can to create some sort of pause for that defense. All that motion, all the
What's up, Beto?
you know the outside. Hey, what's up, man? All the outside zone running that they do, all the motion that they do. It gets our team running and moving and going in different directions at the snap, right? So the Lions don't run an offense like that. They're more just ground and pound. And typically when a team is that way, we don't struggle as much against those teams against the run. And then, you look at Elijah Mitchell. I mean, I know he's a 6th-round rookie, but the kid is great. I mean, I think he's ran for like 800 yards in not that many games. Like, I mean, he's like averaging 95 yards a game or something. I can't remember exact numbers, but Jamal Williams is not him, right? DeAndre Swift is kind of like that, but they don't have a guy like Elijah Mitchell or on the team currently without DeAndre Swift that can really rip us apart, in my opinion. Now, Jamal Williams is a fine runner. We shouldn't underestimate him, but I don't think he's going to be able to do what Elijah Mitchell just did to us,
And on
or
top
Debo or Debo for that matter.
and on top of
Yeah.
that, in the passing game, Goff doesn't throw much beyond 10 yards. He's not a deep thrower. Most of the Lions' passing game is short dinks and dunks.
They
Um,
did.
Yeah,
They
and I
did
think we saw it.
connect on that long one to Josh Reynolds, though. That was exciting to watch.
yeah, but that's rare, and hopefully,
It is. It is rare. Yeah.
because they play up front and the style of ball they play, that helps play into our defense's hands, especially if we get the middle back. However, I like what Armin Watson has been doing in Lynch. But no, this isn't a trap game. We're going to win this one. On top of that, there's
You
one
guys-
other thing you forgot.
Okay, let's hit me.
You know how I feel about Kirk Cousins, and everybody's afraid he's going to stay in this turtle shell after second half last week. Kirk Cousins is from Michigan. Every time he's gone to play Detroit, he has absolutely demolished them. I don't think that's going to change this week.
Oh boy!
I
So
think it's gonna
everybody
be a big
listening, Dave, if you play daily fantasy or you just need a spot start in fantasy, Dave's calling it right here.
Yep.
Kirk
Go with
Cousins
Cousins.
breakout game. He's gonna light
Love it.
up Michigan. Uh, are there any particular matchups that you guys are looking for? I know that you both mentioned Josh Reynolds, who he was recently picked up. I think Miles, friend of the show, mentioned last offseason that he actually thought Josh Reynolds would be a good addition here had we never had the emergence of a KJ Osborne. He thought he would have fit well with that wide receiver 3 position. Did you see anything last week in that game, the Lions versus the Bears, that maybe we should be worried about Josh Reynolds a little bit? Maybe there was a little bit of a connection there between him and Goff. And on top of that, if there's any other matchups you're kind of watching for this weekend.
Yeah, I think Josh Reynolds is a quality player. I don't think he's going to be a superstar or anything like that, but he's probably a good quality 3, maybe a low end 2 in an offense. And unfortunately, he's into the kind of number 1 spot from the receiver standpoint there. So he's going to be locked in with our outside receivers. He doesn't play much slot from what I remember. So, they'll have some challenges. I mean, he's got some top end speed, and he's again, he put a filthy, dirty, double move on whatever corner that was. I think it was they're not Jalen Johnson, but their other corner for the Bears. Some starts with a V, I think. But anyway, he's garbage. He's not a good corner. So hopefully our corners can hold up better than that kid did for the Bears. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely a threat. Khalif Raymond's always a threat too. I mean, he kind of tore us up last year when he was with I think the Titans for over 100 yards on like 3 catches or something like that. And then they always have TJ Hawkinson's always and has an opportunity to
That was my
kind of
pick.
rip us up there in the middle.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's a high quality tight end. He's George Kittle White, I guess. Like can block, can catch, can run after the catch. I mean, he kind of does a little bit of everything. Not quite at that level Kittle does. I don't think he has
Good red
that,
zone guy, though.
great red zone guy. Yeah. I just don't think he's kind of got the that mental fortitude that Kittle has of like I'm going to murder you to really dominate a game like Kittle does. Yeah, and then their offensive line has gotten better. I mean, they've gotten healthy, so they have Sewell and Decker this week, I believe, unless something is in practice that I'm not aware of.
No, I think you're
So
right.
hopefully, I think that'll be a challenge for our DNs to be able to get pressure. So we may be looking at the inside to really make some pressure on Jared Goff. And then to flip on the defensive side, I mean, again, like you said, they're a gritty team. Matt Campbell coaches them to. You remember the introductory press conference and biting off kneecaps and all of that. So that's the way that their defense does play. I mean, they have one of my favorite D tackles in the draft was Aleen McNeil out of NC State. And he's had a pretty good year. And then they have the other kid from Washington. I don't know how to say his name. Onwuzurike or something like that. I don't know. From Washington, D tackle. He's making some penetrating moves out of that D tackle spot. So our interior of our line is going to have some challenges. Again, we saw Oli Udo just get ripped apart last game. And Mason Cole's playing okay. He's playing better probably than Bradbury, at least from a pass protection standpoint.
He is, all except
And
for one game.
and Ezra Cleveland is playing really well. I mean, I think he's playing very well at the left guard spot. So hopefully we can, hopefully Oli can either have a bounce back game, or if we decide to kick him out, move Mason Cole out to guard and bring in Bradbury. I'm not sure that's the right move this week, just given some of the power that they have with McNeil, Brockers, and then that other kid from Washington. But yeah, I mean, we should be able to have a heyday with their secondary. I mean, if we stay aggressive in this game like we have been and keep throwing it deep, Thielen and Jefferson and maybe even KJ Osborne should be able to put in a decent game.
I feel like we have focused a lot on the Lions so far this conversation, and this conversation and this show, and we are a Vikings happy hour. So, Dave, what are some things or players on the Vikings that you're looking forward to this weekend?
I want to see Kene Nwangwu make his basic debut as a running back. We know Zimmer said today that he will get time. We don't know how much. Alexander Mattison obviously will be the starter, but Kene will be relieving him. And I'm curious if he could play his way into more of that percentage and bump Mattison back behind him because we all know how Madison's the power sort of back of all the types of backs. And Kene's
Yep.
the speed guy. Well, maybe he plays himself into, hey, this works. So let's do that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I am looking forward to seeing this weekend, especially on the offense. That and Kirk Cousins coming out of his shell and being a wild man.
Yeah,
Love the
I
Kene
fully
take.
expect Zimmer to ride the hot hand. And I wouldn't be surprised if Madison starts off early. Uh, but I, I wouldn't be shocked if a couple big plays leads to them kind of leaning on Kene Nwangwu, right? That's how you say his
Wangwu,
last
yeah,
name.
Wangu, yeah, Wang, yeah.
I need to
And
do
and
some
all it
learning that.
takes is a jet sweep, a quick outside deal, busting for 20 yards here, bust another one a
Yeah,
little bit longer, and it's going to be game's on, baby. Let's do this. And
yeah,
he
yep,
will then take a chunk of the snaps, and they'll give up the blitz package blocking, in the
hmm
pass pro. Just tell Kirk you got to live with it. We're going to play him, so you got to work around this. Throw the ball a little quicker, and look for the smoke routes, and go from
yeah.
there. So
Um, Before we get to lightning round, which is record pace for us, by the way, we normally run way over. Uh, Ryan, two questions for you. Are the Vikings a playoff team? I know technically well, actually, they're not considered one right now. I
no,
Not
think
right
right
now we're
now.
not.
Yeah.
Washington has the seventh seed. But are the Vikings a playoff team? And then what do you need to see this weekend for them to prove that to you?
Sure. Quick, Mary just asked, is it time to trade Cook? Um, we'll see how we play without him this next
Good
couple games. I
question.
mean, if I think it's Wangu is how you say it. I looked it up on the Vikings
It's
website.
Wangu or
Um,
Wongwu.
If
But
Flip
yeah,
is watching this, he's gonna rip us apart.
yeah. Well, I did take his advice and look it up, and yeah, it's Wangu, Wangu.
Wangu.
So anyway,
Got it.
so with if he can come in and make some plays, and then Madison, kind of is move to a Thunder type approach. I mean, Dalvin Cook, when healthy, is the best of the best. The unfortunate part is he costs a lot of money, and we're going into a year where Kirk Cousins is going to cost us 45 against the cap. So we're going to have to. I mean, obviously the salary cap is going to go up quite a bit, so we might
But
be able
not
to
that much this year.
navigate through that. I think it should
Well,
because
it's
this
going to
year
go
is
up a
the
chunk,
light
but
year.
the
Yeah,
big
yeah, yeah.
jump is the following year.
Oh, I thought it was this year.
It's
Either way, we should be able to navigate through it. However, you can alleviate and take yourself off a big chunk if you get off of that. So we'll see, Mary. I wouldn't be against it. I love Dalvin Cook, and I think he truly is a big leader on this team, which is, I think, that does stand for something, in my opinion, in terms of having that veteran leadership. So we'll see. But I wouldn't be opposed to doing it, especially if this year just ends up going out of favor and we have a new regime. We might as well get what we can for him, and since we're rebuilding anyway at that point. To go to your question, Matt, are we a playoff team? Um, yes, I think we are. I think we have the tools and the team to be able to be a playoff team. When I say playoff team, that means a seventh seed through a wild card team, right? I don't think we're going to make a deep run. The good thing about this team is every game, whether we're playing a good or a bad team, we're in the game, right? Like we are in against the number one. I think the Cardinals are the number one team in the NFC
NFC.
right now.
Mhm.
So, and we were a field goal away from beating them. That we changed it, right? We beat the Packers, who are the number two, right?
Yep.
We held our own against all of these solid teams, and then the flip side though is unfortunately we're also in it in every game that the teams aren't good, right? The Lions, the Panthers, the Cowboys without Dak, right? And we're not
Oof.
winning those games, or we're barely winning or not winning those games, right? So so what I need to see out of this team to feel confident is we need to come into the Lions game and we need to kick their ass. Like, and I'm not saying let's beat them by a lucky a last minute drive to win by 2 on a field goal. I'm talking we need to go in and kick their ass. Let's go in, show
Make them want
what's
to
up.
quit in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, make them want to bite their own kneecaps off because they just need to get out of there, right? Like we need to show them who's boss in this game, and a 14-point win. What we did to Seattle, we need to do to the Lions, right? And
Yeah.
then we need to be able to hold our own, even if we don't win every one of these games coming up here. We have the Packers, who are a good team. Let's hold our own against them. Let's beat them, or at least keep it to that, again, close game. The Rams are coming up. We should hold that to a close game or beat them. The Steelers, again, they're not a great team. I don't think they're overly great, but we do need to go in and hold our own and beat them. And I might be at that game. So, and who's
fun.
the other team that
That's
we play left?
Thursday night one.
The
Chicago
Bears. We got the
twice.
Bears
It is.
twice.
And then we got the Bears twice, who aren't a good team. So again, we should be like, again, I know playing
Don't.
in Soldier Field is tough.
Those are
It's
probably
tough.
the closest to trap games that you were talking about.
They are, but we
Yeah.
should beat them, right? So, like to your question of what do we need to do to prove it? We need to beat up the Lions. We need to at least beat up the Bears at home. We need to still beat the Bears at Soldier Field, even if it's a close game, and then stay close, or if not win against the 2 elite teams that we still play. And who knows if the Rams are even elite still? Like they're on. They didn't win in November, I don't think. So, we really need to do that. And if we can do that, I'm going to feel more confident going into the playoffs, because I do think we make the playoffs. Our schedule is easy enough for us to be able to walk into the playoffs if we take care of what we should take care of, and then maybe steal one. Because who are we competing against? The Washington football team. They're not that great of a team. You look at the Falcons; they're not a great team. You look at
The Panthers.
Panthers,
The
again,
Eagles.
they're reeling, right? Eagles are good. Like, I mean, Eagles are playing well enough to get there as well. I mean, they're kind of they're overachieving where we're underachieving, in my opinion. But they're on our playing field. They have a better, improved defense, and it just depends on what version of Jalen Hurts you're getting. So, anyway, so I think that we really need to take care of business. If we can do that, we should be walking into the playoffs. And again, who knows? We're putting up fights against every quality team we play.
Yeah.
We might be able to steal 1 or 2 and create some hype and create some excitement. And if you would have talked to me about this after the Dallas game, or I would have been like, no, we're not. Let's move forward. And then, we got some life going. Even if we lose to the 49ers, I still feel like we put up a quality game there. I think we can do enough to make the playoffs and maybe even steal one in the playoffs.
I think the Vikings probably they can afford to lose 1 game, maybe 2, depending on who that second one is to. But otherwise,
If they go, we got 6 games left.
Yeah, I think if we go 4-2, I think we make the
should get
playoffs.
to it. Yeah.
Because
Be
some of
better
these
if you
other
went 5
teams are
and 1.
playing. Absolutely, but I mean, if we went 4-2, I think we make the playoffs. I still, if we go 3-3, that's where it'll be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually,
I want
there's
to
no
welcome
chance we make it.
Michael Berger. I originally read that as Mitch Berger. Welcome to the show. Glad you could join us.
Yeah.
And Mary had asked.
He's coming in at
the perfect
what's
time.
up?
Mary had asked.
Oh, I was going to say that. Yeah.
How far do we see us going in the playoffs? Logically, Mary, it's a one and done. But we all know things can change. Attitudes like momentum can change, and teams can get on a roll and then go a lot farther than you think. And the talent base is on this team. We do have it. So
Get a ticket to the dance. That's all they say,
yeah,
right?
ask the New
Once
York
you're in.
Giants.
Yep.
It can happen. Will it? No. Probably not. But it can happen. And, the optimists and all of us hope for that. So, and hope is eternal. So, at least until next season.
Well, sweet.
Hey, and if to Matt's point, if we go into the playoffs with 5-1, and then if you count the last 2 wins and the other, so that's 5, 6, 7, 7-2 going into the playoffs in your last 9. That's some good momentum that you could go running in and feel pretty confident that you can win some games. So we'll see.
And I don't see us taking the division, so that means a 6 or 7 seed, which means we just get to play into Zimmer's mantra of underdogs. They're counting us out. Let's go into one of these stadiums and blow them up on the road. So the reason I said that Michael was joining the show at a good time is because it is one of my favorite times of the show where I get to ask you guys some questions. It's lightning round, and Dave is gonna get this music rolling, and I got some questions for each of you, and then we'll do some score predictions. So I sent him over in advance this week. Last week I just didn't even give you a heads up, but we'll start off. We talked about him earlier. Kene Nwangwu is the pronunciation, and Ryan, I have him at over or under 4.5 touches on offense this weekend.
Yeah, let's give him the over. I think I don't think it's gonna be much more. It might quite literally be 5, maybe 6. But yeah, I mean, Mattison hasn't been effective this year, in my opinion, outside of the one game that he actually went over 100, I think, which was a good game.
He went over twice.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm correct. I stand corrected, but he just doesn't look like he has the. He doesn't look like he has that juice right now, and I think Nwangwu does. So I'd like to see him with 6, 7 touches to see how he does.
All right. Dave, we're going to switch to the Lions side of the ball. Everyone's heard about Jared Goff. We've seen him play, and he's turnover prone. No other way to put it. I mean, and Mike Zimmer's got a defense. His third down defense is still looking great. So do you think Jared Goff goes over or under 2.5 turnovers?
Oh, no, I'd have to go under. I think we get some, but 2.5 is a lot for a quarterback.
Well,
hey, I would love the over. I would love the over, but
I appreciate the realistic approach. Sometimes when I pick these numbers, I'm like, I probably know what they're going to go with. I wonder if there's a prop bet set I could go look at.
Oh, I can find you one.
For example,
some are.
This next one for Ryan, over or under 1.5 trick plays. We saw Clint Kubiak last week kind of dig deep into his bag of tricks. The flea flicker, the Jefferson jet sweep, throw it back to Dalvin Cook for a run. So what do you think this week?
I think we're going to save those for more important games, so I'm going to go the under.
Fair enough.
Even though this game is important, we need to win the game, but hopefully we don't need them to win this game. So
I didn't check this one before pulling this stat, Dave, but over or under 27.5 points allowed by the Vikings this weekend?
Ooh, that's a good under. They don't score that much.
See, if you've been watching the show, you can just kind of read between the lines on what Dave's going to do for a score prediction. This is under 27.5, and the Vikings are should win. Sorry, not going to, should win. Let's switch to
they
buy.
should win big.
Yeah. We're going to switch to buy or sell here. Ryan, you already talked about saving the trick plays. We kind of alluded to Clint Kubiak digging deep into those bag of tricks. Do you think he's turning a corner?
Well, I thought he was. And then last week, like I said, we had some very questionable play calling. We had some fun play calling. We had some deep shots, but I didn't think we were as aggressive as we were the game before. So it was a little disappointing to see that regression a little bit. But I think he's turned a corner from early in middle of the season. Like he's come a long way since the Lions, the Browns, Lions, Panthers, Cowboys debacle that we had mid-season. So sure, I mean when it's all about perspective, and I'll go off the perspective of yes, he has turned the corner since being awful in those 4 games.
All right. Dave, buying or selling a regression on defense? There was a stretch there where that defense was locked in and solid. The past couple weeks have not been there. So are you buying or selling that regression?
Well, I'm buying that they have regressed, yes, because they have.
Fair
We've
enough.
lost too many people, and we may lose more. I mean, we may have Peterson out this week, even though we get the interior of the line back. We have Griff out. Griff will probably be out for a long time. So, no, there's a natural regression there. I would love to see it get better, but no, there's a natural regression. That's where the offense has to pick up that slack.
Yeah.
Add another touchdown
segment.
to their list.
I don't see him on the chat tonight, but I still appreciate his contribution to the lightning round here. But it's write that down. So Ryan, give me something for sure that you think is going to happen on Sunday.
Write that down. Let's go with the Vikings. Even though we were just dogging on them, the Vikings do not allow a touchdown this weekend. I'm not saying field goals. I'm not saying a shutout. I'm not saying a shutout. But we're not going to allow a touchdown this week.
Wow.
Okay. I can dig at that. Dave,
What's
yours?
the timestamp on that? 46-minute mark. Okay, got it. What's mine? Boy, Kirk Cousins throws 4 touchdowns.
All right. I can go with that one. I think that one's actually pretty feasible. I actually have one for this game.
Mary, she will be drinking. So will I, Mary. So will I.
My write that down for this week is that Greg Joseph will not have to kick a field goal. We will score we'll score a touchdown on every possession that we have. Not every possession, but you get what I'm trying to say. Greg Joseph will not go out to attempt a field goal kick.
Very good. Love
That just goes to show how efficient Kirk Cousins will be, right? This is all just flowing in to the same thought here. So let's transition here to some score predictions, and then we'll call it an early show here. But I know that my record is 5-6.
So's mine.
And I was humbled last week. Ryan, I think, should be in the lead, or maybe
He's tied with
the
the guests. Both him and the guests are 7-4.
Mateo, you are going to be our guest of the week, so pop your score prediction in the chat, and we'll read it out loud. I'm going to go first. Maybe I just had the weeks wrong with my score prediction. So let's try this again. Vikings 35, Detroit 10. I, like you guys, I don't believe
There you go, Beto.
game. I think this is going to be a blowout. I hope it's so much of a blowout that I get to see Sean Mannion out there at quarterback.
Oh, scary. There we go. Mateo calls Vikings 35-31 in a close game.
That's too close for me.
With Detroit scoring a lot.
Jeez. Ryan, our most realistic and level-headed, well, I can't say level-headed on all things, but most things.
All things. Hey, I was gonna say this earlier. Is like I had to switch. Like, I'm not a negative person, and I try to be relatively realistic, but I am a very optimistic person actually most of the time. Just all my optimism went to the Oklahoma Sooners, and now that that's all gone, I have to
Look
put
what
in
that
some
got you.
trust now. So now I think you're going to see a lot more of me being a little bit more optimistic with the Vikings here. I'm going to say 27-9.
Okay.
And again, holding back to my prediction that we'll hold them to 3 field goals, but we're not going to let up a touchdown on defense.
I like that.
Well, I already said
And
Kirk's
then-
going to score 4 touchdowns. That's 28 points right there, roughly. With the extra points, I'll throw in an extra 3 to make it 31, and I'll go 31-20 Vikings. However, I thought about taking the Lions just because, but
I don't remember the last time we've had a clean sweep on the Vikings as a
Last
score
Lions
predictions. Was that what it was?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure probably it was. Because obviously,
That's
Cowboys
probably
game,
true.
I picked the Cowboys. Cowboys girl picked the Cowboys. I picked us to lose against the Chargers, which I'm glad I was wrong. Obviously, Niners sickness
yeah.
picked the Niners. I don't know what other game. Oh, Packer. I think Packers. We all picked us to win.
right. I think it was the Packers because
Yeah. Packers game. Because we just nobody
we
picked the
can't
Packers
stomach
game.
picking the Packers no
Yeah,
matter
yeah.
what. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. And I think Miles was on
no.
the show that week, so yeah.
Mary says she can't take another close game. I think we're all with you there. And that's why, after this Sunday, we can finally just take a deep breath. We won't have to have that, especially if it goes by my score prediction or Ryan's or even Dave's a little bit. 20 points is still too much for me, but I'll concede. That's better than what we've dealt with the rest of this season. So I don't have anything else, and I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts before we send this off.
We have
I
Viking
guess
hot
I'll just-
takes tomorrow with the
Oh.
no longer single Great Flip Mozzie and Eric Thompson of the Daily Norseman.
Ryan,
And
you
of
had
course, on
something?
Saturday, me and Darren.
Dave and Darren, two old bloggers. Always a good show, guys. You got to tune in. They have such good graphics on that show. I absolutely love it. All I was going to say is that, hey, I may have been a little down today, guys. I'm going to bounce back. My Sooners are going to bounce back. We got Bob Stoops out here, and he's out here recruiting. He's out here giving us life. I mean, that's a coach. If we want a coach, next head coach of the Vikings, it should be Bob Stoops because that guy's the man. But I want an offensive guy. He's a defensive guy. So I'll be back. I'm going to be a little bit more chipper next time. I'm still drinking my sorrows a little bit, but by this time next week, we're going to have a Vikings win. We're going to have a new head coach for the Oklahoma Sooners, and I'm going to be riding super high. So tune in next week. Same time next week. We're going to have a great show.
That's it. He just did the wrap up, Dave. Let's send it.
Skol, everyone! Thank you for watching or listening. As always, if you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And if you're listening to the podcast, please rate us on your favorite aggregator. Skol, everybody!